The UK government has announced that visa-free touring has been negotiated for UK artists in 19 EU member countries, while music industry critics have accused them of failing to fix the real issues, and it's 19 of 27. There have been 7 months of very loud criticism from across the music industry after the government jeopardized the future of touring for UK artists when the Brexit deal secured with the EU failed to negotiate visa-free travel and Europe-wide work permits for musicians and crew. This came with fears and predictions that new rules and red tape would lead to musicians and crew facing huge costs to future live music tours on the continent, which could create a glass ceiling that prevents rising and developing talent from being able to afford to do so. Amid months of inaction, the government has often been accused of treating the £6 billion music sector like an afterthought in Brexit negotiations compared to the £1.2 billion fishing industry. Now, the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport have announced that visa-free travel will be allowed for musicians and performers in 19 European countries, while talks are ongoing with the remaining nations. They stated, "We as government have spoken to every EU member state about the issues facing our creative and cultural industries when looking to tour in Europe," a DCMS spokesperson said. And from these discussions, 19 member states have confirmed UK musicians and performers do not need visas or work permits for short-term tours. These countries are Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Poland, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Sweden. And they said, "We're now actively engaging with the remaining EU member states that do not allow visa and permit-free touring and calling on them to align their arrangements with the UK's generous rules, which allow touring performers and support staff to come to the UK for up to 3 months without a visa." Formal approaches via officials and DCMS ministers have been made to Spain, Croatia, Greece, Portugal, Bulgaria, Romania, Malta and Cyprus. We are also working with the sector to amplify each other's lobbying efforts. The government added that they recognize challenges remain around touring and that they were continuing to work closely with the industry. They said, "We want to ensure that when COVID-19 restrictions are lifted, touring can resume and our world-leading creative and cultural artists can continue to travel widely, learning their craft, growing their audiences and showing the best of British creativity to the world," they claimed. And can they say one sentence without world best, world this, world blah? However, Featured Artist Coalition CEO David Martin was less than enthused by the announcement, arguing that it is nothing more than we already knew. It remains that the UK's music industry is in a far less advantageous position now than it was pre-January, Martin told NME. Despite the spin, this statement represents an admission of failure. Failure to fulfill the promises made by government about securing our industry's future during negotiations, failure to fix the issue as per the PM statement of March this year, and failure to provide certainty around touring in almost a third of EU countries 8 months after the music industry was dealt a no-deal scenario. The summer saw the launch of the #LetTheMusicMove campaign with the likes of Wolf Alice, Idols, Poppy, Ayuda and Radiohead among the 200 artists calling upon the UK government to urgently take action to resolve the no-deal that has landed upon British music, while Elton John went as far as to call the government Philistines for their approach. The Tory government's attitude was summarised by campaigners as sacrificing a $6 billion sector and its workers for Brexit and anti-free movement zealotry. Yesterday, Martin claims that there has been no political representation in the #LetTheMusicMove meetings on the issues for months, let alone any signal that government is straining every sinew to help the £6 billion sector. And he continued, "If there is a serious intention to fix the problems created by the government's failure in negotiations, they must start by being honest with our sector and the public about the current status regarding EU touring. As a start, government must publish full details on a country-by-country basis, outlining the exact requirements for touring performers and crew across all 27 member states. Meanwhile, General Secretary of the Musicians Union Horace Trubridge told NME, "We welcome this news and the ongoing talks with the other 8 EU member states. What we urgently need now is some movement on the cabotage and transport issues, particularly in relation to split events. It remains unclear what the situation is with regard to carnets, whereby artists and crews have to fill in laborious paperwork for all their instruments and equipment upon entering and leaving an EU member states. It has been argued that smaller acts will not be able to afford the manpower to do so, and that this will provide huge logistical problems for less established artists." NME has also asked for clarity on what these 19 agreements mean for support staff and roadies, after figures from the UK's live music industry warned that a massive amount of jobs and taxable income will be lost to the EU under the current Brexit deal, due to it making touring nigh on impossible for road crew. Cabotage rules currently mean that trucks travelling from the UK are only allowed to make one stop in an EU state before having just 7 days to make a maximum of 2 more before returning home. And there's no word from the government that that has changed with the 19. This summer saw the launch, as I said, of the Let the Music Move campaign. And obviously, they are thinking a little bit more about details than the government, because the cabotage is a far bigger problem than the visa requirements, because that is really costly. And bringing the equipment is very costly. There is tons of paperwork because the UK is a third country, and they might have secured something for the visa issue. But when I heard what the statement of the government was, with no mentioning of the real problems, I'm quite convinced that they have not really taken care of that one. So there still is a developing story, and I'm quite sure we'll talk about this several times again. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.